out here though. Even though it's hot, got some fresh air. Get out of the studio.
Light breeze.
Warm barbecue. I do love Oakville.
It's beautiful.
It's really beautiful.
It's nice to come out here in the afternoon, just like
Taking the peace.
after a long stressful day, and just look around. It's not too bad.
Under the sycamore and like fresh green.
Out Rudy's here too.
I'm ready to drink some Merlot, that's for sure.
Some Chardonnay.
Chardonnay's nice too. We should do Chardonnay and burgers.
Do you guys have audio on yet? Okay.
Aaron, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are
Good.
you doing?
I'm really well, thank you.
Welcome to PlumpJack.
Yeah, thank you very much. I love coming out here.
This is our outdoor kitchen.
It really doesn't get much better than being right here in the heart of Oakville, looking out at the Mayacamas and the Vaca Mountains and awesome Cabernet planted in the middle of Napa Valley. Pretty much dead center, right?
Yeah, north and south. We're a little south of center, but
Okay.
we're close to center. But yeah, this is one of the best growing regions of Napa Valley, if not the best. Some of the most prized wines out of Napa Valley coming from these vineyards right here that you see behind us.
Now, I know you all know who I am because I'm kidding. But so I've been cooking with you the last couple of months while we've been closed down to the public. My name is Adam. I'm here today with the infamous Aaron Miller, winemaker here at PlumpJack.
Just famous.
Just famous?
Yeah,
Okay.
not infamous. I'm
And-
Aaron Miller, winemaker here at PlumpJack.
And I know I just mentioned it, just in case you're out there thinking about, when should you come out here and visit, we opened today. So we're super excited, had a small number of people visit.
Yeah.
And
Our first guests for several months, so we were excited to see some new faces around here. It was getting a little bit lonely, and we finally saw.
taste some of your new wines.
That's right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're here to do today, right? We're going to taste
Right.
some new wines.
Right. We have the 2018 Merlot here and 2018 Syrah. We're going to be tasting these wines and grilling some burgers and making some salad. But we really wanted to show these wines today because they do pair so well with anything from the grill, but especially a burger. And also we haven't had these wines for so long. To just now, upon release here, the 2018 vintage, it's the first time we've released a Merlot or Syrah since 2 years. Been 2 years.
You want to hand me your glass? We'll
Sure.
have a little cheers. Freshly popped bottle of 2018 PlumpJack Merlot.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And we didn't release a wine last year, a Merlot or a Syrah, because if you may remember, 2017 vintage, we had some fires and they really affected our Merlot and Syrah. And so rather than making a Merlot or Syrah with any smoke taint, we decided to just bulk it all out. We didn't bottle anything, which was tough for us because we didn't get to share any Merlot or Syrah with you last year, but it made this release even more exciting. And the wines are beautiful, so we'll be really excited to share these with you.
So I tasted these a couple weeks ago before we had the chance to give them out to the public. Today, these are now available to purchase online. Come out and see us, take some bottles home, or call us and we'll ship you a case. So these wines are a couple of my favorites from the whole collection. We make Cabernet here at PlumpJack and at our
Yeah.
sister wineries mostly.
Yeah, our Cabernet Sauvignon is our flagship, and that comes from this estate right here. But we also make this Merlot and Syrah. We have some really great partners that we work with where we buy this fruit, the Merlot, is coming from Orchard Avenue in the Oak Knoll district of Napa Valley. So it's a little further south of here. It's just north of the city of Napa. And I think it's just the most beautiful spot for growing Merlot. It's up against the Mayacamas Mountains, so it's also on really rocky, well-draining soils, and the climate is perfect. It's not too warm. Oakville can get pretty warm, and it's not too cool. Carneros can be pretty cool. It's right in the middle, and so you just, I call it the Goldilocks effect. Not too warm, not too cold, it's just right, and it really allows for perfect ripening of the Merlot. We get really great fruit character, more in the red realm, red cherries, raspberries, there's beautiful berries, and but we don't go, it's not too warm, so we don't go beyond into the plummy, overripe realm. And it's warm enough so that it doesn't stay too earthy. You know, it just has just a touch of like underbrush, a little bit of undergrowth, a little earthiness, but it's just it kind of complements the fruit. And in this vintage, I think it shows really well because it was a little bit of a cooler vintage, 2018. August and September really didn't warm up much and really slowed the ripening process. And so we picked pretty late. We picked some of this fruit in November, and I've never picked in November before. But that slow ripening and that cooler vintage really helped to even bring out and emphasize that redder fruit even more. So it's just beautiful aromatics, beautiful cherry and berry, and some floral notes, and just a touch of earth.
Awesome.
And then we also age it in mostly American oak, but we use about 10%, or mostly French oak rather, but about 10% American oak. And that 10% American oak just gives it a little bit of smokiness, and that's what really will pair this with the burger. You know, just a touch of smokiness on the Merlot, and then nice char on the burger and smoke from the coals will really just pair these perfectly and match them really well.
Awesome.
So it's kind of opposite of what you're doing in your other shows.
Yeah.
It's not. This is
not
this
unusual. No. Yeah.
This is a perfect pairing.
Exactly.
Rather than an odd pairing.
Right. Yeah, we wanted to, you know, for Father's Day, you know, get back on the grill, and it's kind of, you know, rather than, and we really just wanted to highlight these wines and give them a chance to show with some great food and really have that food enhance those nuances of the wines. And so we got away from the unusual pairings today. We're going back to classic, great food, great wine, great pairings. So what we are making today, so this is something, Aaron, I know that you've been grilling for a long time and you like to barbecue. I do as well. And so one of my things that I've started to get into is grinding all of my own meats, making my own sausages, making my own brown burger. And so today we wanted to share with you one of our favorite blends. And the recipe that you have in front of you today, you'll see that we are making burgers using brisket, which has awesome beefy flavor. We're using skirt steak, which has just classic, good fat structure, really not a tender meat, but it's gonna help that burger really stick together. And then short ribs, which is sort of a chef's favorite of the beef cuts. And when I went to the butcher today to get all three of those cuts to make our beef, guess what? They had no brisket. So when I first conceptualized this recipe, what I actually wanted to replace that brisket with was oxtail. And so today here, we're gonna make it with the oxtail. Instead, you'll have the other recipe. They can switch out with each other. So we're looking at the oxtail, the skirt steak, and the short rib. And I'm gonna make my friend Aaron here grind all this beef, pack it up, we'll throw it on ice, and we're gonna make some burger patties. And then we have a fresh salad to go along with
Merlot first. And then
so I'm gonna get that meat out of the sun because we already have the meat cut up, ready to go into the grinder. And so we're gonna get started on grinding the beef. So I'm gonna pull this out of your way, let everyone see what you're doing.
yeah, I'm gonna grab a glove
You
here.
got it. So the key to grinding your own beef, you'll see this in the recipe, is one, you want to have small enough pieces to go through your grinder. We've already mixed all of the beef together, so there's a little bit of that oxtail, a little bit of that skirt steak, and a little bit of that short rib already chopped in and mixed up. And then the key is to keep things ice cold, because you know when it starts to get warm, it starts to get gummy.
Yeah.
It's just going to chew up your grinder.
And for feeding, how much do you feed at a time? And
So I usually like to get it started. You want, inside that auger, we've frozen the auger, we've frozen the blade, and we're just gonna get it packed in there. It might be a little bit slow to get started, but once they start going in, they should start grinding out. So I know we're just kind of diving in here. Aaron's got a little bit of work to do. We're gonna glove up, make sure that we're hygienic. So far, do we have any questions from Facebook or Instagram?
So when did this wine release, and how do you decide when to release it?
This wine just released this month, and we generally just try to release the wines when they're ready. We also, we generally run out of these wines after only about 9 months, and we try to just hold on until they're ready for release. Sometimes they're ready earlier, sometimes they're ready later. We really would like to shoot for early summer, but ultimately it just depends on when it's ready, based on the flavor profile, how the wine's tasting, how expressive they are. Sometimes we've had wines that were just too, like a Merlot, I'm thinking back to like 2013, that was just so massive, such a big tannic wine that by early summer it just was too big and closed up really tight. And so we waited until September, October to release that wine.
So now while we're grinding, I'm gonna drink some Merlot. Make sure this doesn't pop on you. And so we're grinding here. We're keeping it going. You'll have this really, really coarse cut. So we're actually gonna grind this beef twice. And the first time we're pushing this through a 3/8 inch diameter sleeve. And what you have is this very, very coarse ground beef. This is great when you're out making chili, when you're looking to make tacos, anything else that you want to stuff with ground beef, peppers. This is really as coarse as you need to get it. But we're gonna run it through a second smaller bit. It's gonna be about 3/16 of an inch. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna give us that really moist texture, and it's gonna help hold all that moisture and be a little bit of a finer ground beef. Oh man, you're getting right through there.
There's a question about, for Aaron, the vineyard behind you.
Yes.
What's being grown there, or what's it all about?
This vineyard here is our estate vineyard. We call it the McWilliams Vineyard. And this here right behind me is Cabernet Sauvignon. So this is Cabernet Sauvignon Clone 7. It's a really nice block. The soil that we're standing on right now is a pretty loamy soil. It's not as rocky as the soils that we have on the east side near the Vaca Mountains, but it's a very nice soil. This block here makes up a really nice part of our estate Cabernet Sauvignon.
And so Aaron, will you remind me, what was the first vintage that you started here at PlumpJack?
I started here in 2012.
And was that harvest? Did you see that whole harvest go all the way through to?
Yeah, I started here.
Vintage?
I started here in July 2012. My son was born in August 2012. So it was a busy time, a big transition for professionally and personally. I had to learn a lot. Didn't sleep much. Turned out it didn't matter. It was harvest, so we don't sleep much during harvest anyway. But yeah, it was a lot of learning.
Yeah, I'm pretty thankful that I have a job that sometimes has those stresses, and when you have children, that can be a lot of work. But when harvest comes, that seems like a lot to carry, being a father and having 16-hour days, day after day.
Helps to have a good mother, a good spouse. She's over there.
I was gonna say, I think every good man either has another good man or a great woman standing behind him.
Doesn't matter which way I put it on.
Let's see here. So there should be a little groove. There we go. So now we've just changed the bit. Again, just as a reminder, when you're doing this at home, make sure that those bits are nice and ice cold. It's gonna really, really save you. We're gonna push all this ground beef through one more time, make it nice and moist, and then we're gonna put this into the cooler here in the vineyard If you're at home, you can do that. Just throw it into your refrigerator, let it stay nice and cool for about 30 minutes. That is going to make it much easier to make a smoother and better patty that'll really stick together. I gotta ditch this glove and have another glass of Merlot. So, Aaron, now have you made a Merlot ever since you started here? Or
Yeah.
was there a Merlot being made before?
Yes, and we've been making it from the same vineyard on Orchard Avenue in Oak Knoll for many years. It's been consistently really nice. And one of the nice things about this Merlot is the tannin structure. Aside from having the right climate to get that really nice those really nice aromatics, the soil profile is really rocky and deep against those mountains, and so we get really nice structure as well. Yeah.
I really like that it has this aroma of those red raspberries and cherries, but there's still like that terrific acidity that hangs and lingers, and it's not just this overly ripe, raisiny, plummy kind of Merlot that sometimes was, I think, really popular for a long time.
Has beautiful freshness, great acidity. It's really well balanced. It's a really nice wine.
This person wants to know how would you describe the biggest difference between Napa Merlot and like a Right Bank Bordeaux?
Right Bank is generally a little cooler, so they're probably, I would say the structure is a little different. The tannin in Right Bank Merlot is big, and it can be so big that it can be really sometimes confused with Cabernet Sauvignons, and it can take a long time to age those wines to have them ready for release or ready for drinking. So our wine generally should be ready for drinking within the first year, but it also has the structure and acid to really to age as well. Not like a Right Bank Merlot, but those can go for 30 years before you can touch it.
Excellent. So you'll see as we make this, the significant difference between these two grinds. So we have that really coarse grind versus this very fine stringy grind. So if you're not into grinding your own burger meat, you can go to your butcher, ask them for a fine ground beef, and that's what you're going to want to use for making your burgers at home, or when you're buying it already pre-packaged. Just make sure that you're looking for those nice thin strings. So Aaron, what's going on? I know we're right here in the middle of, almost in the middle of summer. What's going on in the vineyards? What's going on in the winery? What are you prepping for this year's harvest?
Well, we just finished bottling. So we've just this last week finished bottling our 2018 Estate Cabernet Sauvignon. The reserve is still in barrel aging. We'll be bottling that later this summer in August. But bottling that 2018 Estate is always a big milestone. Just getting another vintage through the cellar. And that'll be ready for release probably this winter sometime, this coming winter. And now we're just kind of in a little bit of just going into a period of downtime where we'll be doing a lot of maintenance in the cellar, but also spending a lot more time in the vineyards. So in the vineyards right now, we've gone through flowering, gone through the bloom. We've had set, so we have clusters on the vines, and in about a month they should start turning purple. They're still green right now. So what we'll be doing now is going through here. We're doing some tucking, so getting the shoots vertical, a little bit more suckering, and we'll start doing a little bit of leafing to get a little more sunlight on the clusters, and then we'll wait for veraison, and then we'll see if we need to do any fruit thinning.
Nice. So it sounds like it's sort of everything's just sort of getting ready for
we're just kind of preparing for everything else.
Excellent.
Okay, I think we're through that.
All right, so I think we're gonna throw that into the bowl, and then I'll put that on ice, and I'm gonna change places with you and clean up. And The second part of what we're going to make today is actually a fresh fruit salad. And it's something that I think really complements both of these wines. The Merlot specifically, because you were mentioning all those red fruits. And so this tart cherry, which we're in peak cherry season right now, should be a good complement to that. So I'll kind of walk you through that, and then we'll get back on the burgers. Oh, pardon me. Sure. Put this on ice. All right. I'll be right back with you, Aaron.
Oh, that's fine. I got this here. Keep me company.
Facebook has a question. Where did you both get your hats?
Ooh, this is my vineyard hat, and I just got this at a hardware store down the street. There's a lot of vineyard hats at the hardware stores around here. So, not an intriguing story. I could make something up. Should I make something up?
You know, I was thinking I should make something up because I don't have an intriguing story either. My hat is I am a very pale Irish kid, and if I don't wear a hat like this, I will die of skin cancer one day. And so this I think it's a Field and Stream hat that I got at a sporting supply store. But you know, it's all about finding the right hat that fits your head and fits your face, and you know, it's for health. You know, all those fathers out there should be, you know, thinking about longevity and taking care of their skin, taking care of themselves.
Kelly from our marketing team thinks that we should probably make some with the logo.
Some PlumpJack ones?
Yeah. Should we get a
Hats,
poll going for
vineyard
that?
hats. So this salad that we're gonna make, it is a combination of cherries, walnuts, and flat leaf parsley. That's really all the flavors that we're combining, and then we're gonna touch that with a vinaigrette of pomegranate molasses. Have you ever had pomegranate molasses?
I've never had pomegranate molasses.
Oh my gosh, you're missing out. Pomegranate molasses.
But we are going to highlight the pomegranate molasses.
We are going to highlight the pomegranate molasses. The pomegranate molasses, it's used a lot in Lebanese and other Middle Eastern dishes. It has this great tartness with just a touch of sweetness. And so that's what makes it really a good thing for playing around with recipes to pair with your wines, because it's not going to overly sweeten your dish. But if you just need that little bit of touch of sweetness, it's a nice little thing to play with. So Aaron's chopping up some walnuts. These walnuts have already been toasted. We're gonna chop up some parsley, and we're gonna throw these all right into that bowl.
Like all these walnuts?
Yeah, let's go ahead and use just all the walnuts.
All right.
You guys have any plans for Father's Day weekend?
Well, yes. Actually, our kids are at Grandma and Grandpa's right now. And we are going up to Tahoe this weekend. And we're going to be going to visit our friends at Sunnyside and just celebrating our 10-year anniversary as well. So
Congratulations.
A lot going on this weekend. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then on Sunday we'll be coming back down and picking up the kids and hanging out with the kids for Father's Day. So maybe do a little swimming. It should be warm this weekend. So just relaxing. How about you? Soon to be father.
Yes, I am not technically a father yet, but by sometime around Thanksgiving that'll change. So
just start now. You gotta figure out Father's Day this year, so you know
That's
exactly
right.
what to do next year.
You know, I think I plan on. I think I'll probably be either here or at Cade or maybe Odette, welcoming guests back for this very first weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I'll take the next couple days off and enjoy those, and then come back here and be excited to see everybody again. You wouldn't believe how much everybody, from our winemakers to our salesmen to our tasting room staff, everybody, today was just like a brand new day. We're so excited to have you all back and be able to share these vineyards and these wines with everybody.
Yeah, it was really exciting to see new faces here. I hadn't seen anybody for so long, and to see some guests walk in was was really exciting.
Yeah. I think we can tell, and we can tell how excited you all are to come out here and visit us. Yeah, here, just cut that right off. Terrific. So I think officially we've used flat leaf parsley in every single dish that we've made. It's one of my go-to ingredients. It's just a great little touch of spice, and I just love the aroma on it. It's semi-neutral, but just a touch of spice to add to your fruit salads or anything else that we've made in the last couple months. So we're gonna throw all that into the bowl. I'll give you some cherries. I'm not gonna make Aaron pit an entire bag of cherries. I already did that for him. And let's see here.
Cherries first.
We'll just do a combination, a little bit of both. That's probably a good sized salad. Oh man, this time of year, I just love the fruits that we get.
How are you feeling about the parsley? A little
I
more?
think that should be good. Let's go ahead and throw all that parsley in there. We'll set that aside, and then we're gonna make our vinaigrette. There you are. So this vinaigrette's simple. Here, you want to cut this Meyer lemon?
Yes.
Take your wine.
First.
Little break.
It's mine, yeah.
Jake says from Facebook that he had the 2005 Merlot last week, and it was absolutely outstanding.
Wow.
Oh wow, great. Love it.
Congratulations, Jake. That is a long time to hold on to a bottle of wine. You have
You
a
made
lot
it.
more patience. Yeah, yeah, definitely. You have a lot more patience than I do, but I'm sure it paid off. So we're gonna do. We're just gonna squeeze about half of that lemon. We're using Meyer lemon today, so half of that in there. Can you eyeball about 2 tablespoons?
Sure.
All right.
Let me get these. Whoa, let me get these seeds out of here. So no one else.
See, I love cooking in the vineyard because when you have
Yes.
seeds in your bowl, you just throw them on the ground.
You want 2 tablespoons of this?
About 2 tablespoons of pomegranate molasses.
1, 2.
Excellent. And we are gonna throw just a pinch of salt in there. And then here, we're gonna do a couple tablespoons of olive oil. Now when you're making a vinaigrette, the first couple of drops is really important because that's what's gonna get your emulsification going. So here, we're gonna watch. We're just gonna, that's it. Let that emulsify. Really let it combine. You just go ahead and just dump all of your olive oil in there. It's never gonna bind. It's never gonna come together. So that's starting to go. Add a little bit more. Let that emulsify. Once it starts to take, then you can be a little bit more forgiving and you can begin the process of just a real slow drizzle.
What's the best time of year to visit Napa?
There's something for everybody every time of year. It really depends on what you want to experience. Some people like to come to visit in September, October during harvest when there's just so much energy. You can smell harvest in the air. You can feel the energy in the air. You can see some wineries like PlumpJack. You can see the process where we're crushing and doing a lot of our winemaking outside. This looks really good. But I also like coming here in the winter. I like the natural beauty in February, March when everything's green, the hillsides are green, the vines are dormant and cut back, so you can really see the valley floor as well. And the mustard is really out, and you get those vivid yellows from the mustard, this beautiful green blanket on the floor in the hills, and then when you have like a beautiful day, like a clear blue day, it's just the contrast of all the colors is incredible. And then also on top of that, there's not as many people here, so it's easier to get reservations in tasting rooms, restaurants, and have a more one-on-one experience at a lot of the wineries.
Yeah, I agree. The winters, I'll say the late fall and the very, very early spring are 2 of my favorite times of year to be driving up and down these roads and going out, and it's very personalized, and there's less people here, so everybody who meets you is so excited to see you because you're just that much more special. So we're just gonna pour all of that right over the top of our salad, give that a good mix, and then we'll set that aside and enjoy that with our burgers. And I'm gonna go ahead and pour you some Syrah.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
This person says, "Oh, the Syrah's back too."
Syrah's back too. So our first release of the Syrah is in 2 years as well, and so we're really excited about this wine. And this too, the reason we have it today, is a great outdoor grilling wine. It goes good with anything off the grill, but also, you know, if in the winter I like to do some more kind of gamey meats as well. Duck, it's good with venison, it's good with all that kind of stuff. But today we're doing it with the burger on the grill because it has a lot of those elements in it already. I'm over here. It has the spices, it has a meatiness, it has kind of a gamey note. It has some smokiness just that's inherent in the grape that is really expressed in the wine, especially in wine like this Syrah, which comes from a cooler climate in the Napa Valley. This is from vineyards down in Carneros, and Carneros is the coolest region of the Napa Valley, and the expression is so much different from a warmer region. You get more what I call varietal character in a place like Carneros, where the expression is a lot of fruit, really nice blue fruits, blueberries, but also a lot of spice like white peppercorn, some green peppercorn, which we get, I think, mostly from the fact that we do some whole cluster fermentations as well. So we do traditional fermentations where we take the grapes off of the stems and ferment them in tanks, but we also do, in this wine, we had about 37% whole cluster where we left the grapes on the stems, put them into open top fermenters or large barrels, and took the heads off, and we put the whole clusters in there, and we fermented them on the clusters, and that gave it just that kind of a green peppercorn and spice, and also just a little bit more bite in the finish. But it also has just some inherent smokiness and also a nice meaty character as well. So perfect pairing with this. And Adam has, to season our burgers, some green and white and pink peppercorns, which I thought was perfect for this wine, because I want to come on the top, because it has some of those that character in the wine.
So if you're not familiar with green, pink, and white peppercorns have been rolled and polished. It's a black peppercorn, but they've taken that harsher, blacker hull off of them. Pink peppercorns are not peppercorns at all. They're actually tropical berries, but they go great with like meats and cheeses and even in desserts. And then green peppercorns are one of the most unique and most mild of the peppercorns, but you can really pick it up on the aroma on this wine, that green peppercorn. If you smell these two right next to each other, it's pretty clear. So go out and buy some green peppercorns, give them a good whiff, and then buy a bottle of PlumpJack Syrah, smell them side by side, and enjoy your Syrah. So I'm going to switch places with you again. We're going to make some patties. If you want to get some gloves on, clear this up, I'll grab that ground beef, get out of the fridge.
What style of burger do you like? Do you cook them thinner or thicker?
I generally do a little thinner for my personal preference. I like, to do about what we're doing today, a 4 to 6 ounce patty, and then pretty good depression in the middle so it doesn't bulge up too much and stays nice and flat, so your toppings stay on your burger a little better and it cooks a little more evenly. And also, when I do burgers, I'm personally not too concerned about the doneness in the middle. I don't mind if it's medium or medium well, as long as you cook it, I think, hot and fast, it'll stay juicy. And what's most important to me is that you get that nice char on the outside, and you get that flavor that you get from the char.
So here, we'll go ahead. I think we've got enough ground beef here to make about 2 patties each. So when you're making a patty, I think the worst thing you can do is overwork the meat. You want to get it together, make it combine. Yeah, that looks about right. You don't want to throw it like a baseball working in your mitt. You just want to bring it together, give it a couple of squeezes, and then flatten out your patty. And I'm glad that Aaron mentioned it. We're gonna do a little thumb depression down in the center. And what that's gonna do is your burgers swell when they hit the grill. And so you want that thumb depression right there in the middle. That's all it takes. And that's gonna help keep your burger a little bit more flat, keep it from turning into a, remember those old suction cups that you could turn over and they'd launch up in the air? If you ever see a burger that looks like it wants to throw all of its toppings off the top of it, it's because you forgot to give it a little thumb depression in the middle. So, we have our grill already hot. We're using a hardwood charcoal as opposed to a brisket. A briquette, not brisket. We forgot brisket. They had no brisket today. So instead of the briquettes, we're using that hardwood charcoal. I like it a little bit better. It tends to burn just a little bit hotter and throw less of that mesquite flavor. And we're just gonna set these burgers right on top. We'll let our camera crew come around and get that nice sizzle picture. You wanna put yours on first and then I'll come in behind you? So it should really only take about 3 minutes on each side over the nice hot coals. You only want to flip your burger once. All right. So while these are cooking, we've got a couple more things to do. And I think we're going to start opening up to try our wines. Aaron, do you want to look at these cutting boards out of the way? We can get our buns toasted.
While you're doing that, Facebook has a question. Where does the name PlumpJack come from?
Oh, wow. I mean, as the winemaker, you should really be the one to tell that story.
Well, so PlumpJack, I guess we should go back to how PlumpJack Winery started. It didn't start as PlumpJack Winery. We started as PlumpJack Wines, a wine shop in San Francisco, in the Cow Hollow Marina District, and it was started by Gavin Newsom and some of his friends and cousins, and the kind of impetus was that when Gavin was going to wine shops, he really felt that the proprietors and the workers there were not very warm, not very welcoming. They were kind of being a little snooty to him and basically kind of like, hey, the beer's in the back, kid kind of attitude. And he thought, that's not what wine is supposed to be about. You know, he was a young kid, he wanted to learn, he wanted to engage with people and just talk about wine. And so he decided, along with some friends and some cousins, that they should start their own wine shop. One of his friends was Billy Getty, and his father was one of his longtime family friends, Gordon Getty. And together they started PlumpJack Wines with the idea that the kind of personality of the wine shop would just be fun, forgiving, and just be about learning, about just experiencing wine together. And so, you know, rather than calling it Newsom Getty Wines, which they thought might have been a good idea at one time, Gavin was in Gordon's study one day, and Gordon is a big fan of Shakespeare and theater and opera and the finer arts, and so he had a bust of this character from Henry IV, Shakespeare's Henry IV, and it was John Falstaff, and John Falstaff was buddies with Prince Hal, who became Henry V, and Prince Hal and Falstaff would go out and party together, have a lot of fun, drink a lot of wine, eat good food, just enjoy life. And they thought that is the perfect image for our wine shop. And John Falstaff's nickname, being a kind of rotund, squat guy, was PlumpJack. And so it was PlumpJack Wines, and we carried that attitude over to PlumpJack Winery, and just wanting to have a place that was warm, welcoming, and just a really inviting kind of atmosphere.
Absolutely. Okay, so I had to flip the burgers while Aaron told that story. Didn't want those things to cook too much on the first side. So we're cooking over here on the second side. We're gonna toast some of our buns, and then I'm gonna have you cut some tomatoes, just nice slices of tomatoes, break up some iceberg lettuce, and that's gonna pretty much cover our burgers.
So the Syrah, is that grown on the estate here?
The Syrah is not grown in the
here.
estate. The Syrah is from a vineyard in Carneros in the south end of Napa Valley. It's on the very far south end of Napa Valley. A little cooler spot, so we get more of that cooler climate style of Syrah, a little more spice, the white and green peppercorn, and some really nice smoky and meaty character,
And
along
again,
with the fruit.
and then this, I think, follow up to the previous question. But what makes this different than the Rhone style Syrah?
Well, just the place, really. It's all about place. And, you know, we want to, I love the Rhone style, right? The spicy, meaty style, which is kind of what I would love to emulate and what I would love to make. But we're making what we have here, and I think this is like the closest you can get to that here. It's just a reflection of those soils and that climate. It just shows you, you know, Carneros fruit. And so, you know, there is a difference, but the difference is mainly driven by soil and climate. So it's not necessarily something that I'm doing as a winemaker, trying to make a certain style. I'm just following what
Here you are.
what I'm given by the vines, by the grapes. I don't want to influence it too much.
Aaron, do you have a particular vintage you love of PlumpJack wines?
I've liked them all for different reasons. One of my favorite vintages, for as far as just the overall character of wines, was a 2016 vintage. The 2018, which we just bottled, I'm really loving. I loved it 2012 and 15, because that's when my kids were born, of course, and they're also just stellar wines. 2017 was a vintage that was so challenging, so difficult because of the conditions, the fires that we had and that sort of thing. And it was just a stressful vintage, and I wasn't sure what we were going to be able to do as far as making the wines go and how much we were going to make, and it was a challenging vintage, and I feel like we made some of our best wines in that vintage as well. So just overcoming those challenges and those obstacles was a really rewarding vintage for me, and so that our current release is also just one that I love as well. It's hard to really pick one over the other because we put so much of ourselves into the wines that they all have a connection to us, and we have a connection to them. So so I love all the wines. I'm sure that really answered your question.
You know, I mean, that's a question that we get all the time, but
Yeah.
you know, that's a great answer because it's so rare that there's not a lot of industries where you get to make something and then it's going to live and be a breathing thing for another 20 years possibly, and it's going to mean something. You're making something that's going to mean something to somebody else.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I love hearing the stories about how our wines that I made were important in somebody's life in some way or another. It was a wine that they had.
White plate, please.
Wine that they had when they were engaged or at their wedding or just some important date, and it's fun to be part of all those experiences.
This person joined a little bit later, but they wanted to know if you marinated the meat.
So the meat was not marinated. We kind of skipped over it because we just got so ahead of ourselves enjoying the wine and talking that it wasn't marinated, but it was nice and ice cold. We put it on the grill, and then hit it with a little bit of that pepper blend and liberally with salt. If you ever go out to eat, I always say, if you go out to eat, the reason it tastes so good is because the chef doesn't care about your cholesterol and doesn't care about your salt intake. So be liberal with butter and salt if you want it to taste like going out. But yeah, salt is usually beef's best friend. And so, you know, to really help enhance all those flavors, you want that salt.
I grew up in the 80s, so every other commercial was like don't eat butter. And every other commercial was don't do drugs, and it was like egg frying. And so they
Told us
were
not to eat eggs,
they
too.
were both they both shaved me. I didn't eat butter for a very, very, very long time. I was just afraid of it. And then I became an adult and realized butter makes everything so much better.
Yeah, it does.
And it became good for me again.
That's right. Yeah, it's all perspective, I guess. So, just like a good steak, you want to let your beef or your burgers rest. Because there's so much moisture that's been kind of sort of pushed to the exterior. You want to let it be reabsorbed, really collect, and that's what's going to give you this really great burger. It's not going to go cold on you. So we have our buns, they're toasted. We're just going to plate one today just to get, so Aaron has something to taste since he's never tasted this burger before. And
Salad looks awesome. by the
thank
way.
you very much. I'm
Yeah,
really excited.
beautiful
This is a
salad.
great, on a nice hot day, this is a salad you're going to really, really enjoy. Especially when you want to have a nice, you know, it's really hot out here. And I thought that I was going to not want any PlumpJack Syrah or PlumpJack Merlot. But I was really, really wrong because it's really delicious. And yeah, I'm just loving it. So I'm going to ask Aaron to pass me the mayonnaise. This is homemade mayonnaise. You have the recipe for it. You can, yes, make this in a food processor or with an immersion blender. But really, where's the pride in that? You should make this and, you know, burn those shoulder muscles out. You know, get some tennis elbow going. Whisk your own mayonnaise. Really, really enjoy it. So we're gonna be liberal again. Mayonnaise is delicious. So we're gonna really just get a nice layer of that mayonnaise on our buns. It has flavor. It's not there just to give moisture. There's Dijon, there's fresh canola oil, that egg. You want all those flavors in there. I'm then gonna ask for a burger. So we'll take that burger right there. We're gonna drop it on there. I'm sort of a stickler for the way that a burger is built. I don't know about you, but when you bite into a burger and everything falls out off the top of it, really give yourself a nice base, give yourself a good foundation, just like building a house. So we're gonna do pickles first. Again, I gave you the recipe for these homemade refrigerator pickles. They're giant, but we love good giant pickles on a burger. 2 pickles. We're then gonna do our tomato. And then Aaron, if I could have you break me off a piece of iceberg lettuce. While Aaron gets us the iceberg lettuce, we'll put a little bit of this cherry salad, cherry walnut salad on here. Perfect. Get the crunchy parts. Put that right on top. And then if you'll hand me that chef's knife. Thank you. We're doing it paper plate style. Keep it authentic. We know when you barbecue, you don't want to do dishes. Paper plates. Actually, I should say not paper plates, compostable plates. We're very conscious here and at all of our sister wineries of making sure everything we do is, you know, being good stewards to the earth, to our individual properties, really caring. So there you are, Aaron. This is that burger. Oh yeah, we should show them what that looks like. Beautiful. So just a couple of minutes on the grill, not too long. Make sure your grill's nice and hot. About 3 minutes on one side, 3 minutes on the other, liberally salted, nice and lots of that green pepper, peppercorn with the pink pepper and white pepper. It's not gonna be too spicy. You didn't need to fold in any garlic powder or Worcestershire or eggs or anything else. It's just really the flavor of the
Salt and
meat.
pepper.
So I've had this a whole bunch of times.
just
Aaron,
try?
I'm gonna let you have that.
All right.
Make sure you have a nice big glass of wine.
That's delicious. Juicy burger,
Excellent.
nice and smoky. Got the char. Be perfect with the wine. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for making really incredible vintages of Merlot and Syrah. And if you're not a Merlot and Syrah fan, then you should at least try them. But if not, if you're just a hardcore cab, Aaron makes hardcore great Cabernet.
If you're not a Merlot or Syrah fan, you just haven't had a Merlot. and
That's
Syrah.
true.
So try the Merlot and Syrah, and you'll be converted.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't miss this. Aaron, happy Father's Day to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And happy Father's Day to everybody out there who's been enjoying PlumpJack wines for a long time, I'm sure. And if you don't identify as a father, but you are a good role model and you're taking care of your kids, then you deserve to be recognized for this weekend too. So happy Pride Month, everybody. And cheers, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.